This video looks specifically at the optional settings for your ServiceNode.work company. Let's start at the top. I'll open a few other windows and tabs so that you can see in real time how these options affect how you and your field personnel will interact with ServiceNode. The top three settings are Display Item Numbers, Customer Signature, and Job Image option. Display Part Numbers is the option that will toggle displaying item numbers to your customers on an invoice. Depending on your preference, you may or may not want your customers to see what part number or item is used. The item description and price will still be displayed. Here's a sample invoice so you can see the difference. Display item numbers on and display item numbers off. The Customer Signature option will allow you to collect a customer's signature that will be added to the job and to the invoice. If this option is turned off, any existing signatures that have been collected will be retained. However, the option to collect new signatures will not be available. The Job Image option will allow you or your field personnel to add an image to a job that can optionally be attached to an estimate or an invoice, or just held for your records. Many property management companies want to see the condition of an appliance or product before estimate approval, for example. Or you may just wish to document floor or product damage. From here we have all the field options for job creation. Some of these are tied to each other. For example, if I turn off the option to collect product, it is assumed that you will also not need to be collecting brand, model, or serial numbers. There is also an option to require a field during job creation or editing. If a field is switched to required, it will be highlighted in red and will not allow a job to be created without some value in that field. Then we have purchase date, time on job, contract issuer, contract number, and also recommended and required items. As you may have guessed, the time on job field is only used when editing a job and not during job creation. The contract issuer field is for something like a home warranty company or a service contract of some kind, and the contract number would be for the actual service contract number to reference. The contract number will be displayed on the invoice as a reference number, which may also be used for something like a work order or a request reference. So if you don't do any work like that, you can turn all these fields off and greatly simplify the ServiceNode interface. Lastly, there are recommended and required items. I personally use these fields to communicate with my techs what parts I suspect may be needed for a first trip complete. So if I suspect by the product and request that a lid switch may be the cause, I may add the part number here to encourage them to have one with them when they run the call. The required item field is also used by the ServiceNode system. When an item is requested through a job update, the requested parts will be listed as necessary because it is assumed that they will be required to complete the job. When the requested items have passed through the purchase order system and have been ordered and received, the requested note with the date of request will be altered to the quantity needed, the part number, and the quoted price. You may have also noticed that the job status has been altered a few times as part of the request, order, and receiving process, but I won't go into too much detail on that for this video. And to wrap this up, at the bottom of the company fields area we see servicer account number and tax exemption under new customer fields. The servicer account number is slightly different from the contract number in this way. Let's say you're setting up a new corporate customer like Trane or Whirlpool to become a warranty service provider. This is where you would enter your company's ID for that account. So let's say I work for Frigidaire and they know me as AA-65289. So I enter that into the servicer account number, and it will be connected to any job that is dispatched to me from that company. This differs from the contract field because that would be connected to a specific job, such as a customer who has a service contract with Home Repairs Inc. on their stove. And finally, the tax exemption option. This field will allow you to enter a tax ID number for your customer. If a customer is tax exempt and you normally collect sales tax, in place of tax on the invoice, the tax ID will be displayed. Also, jobs that are for this customer that are tax exempt will be broken out into your sales tax reports, so you won't need to do a bunch of work searching for the correct values to enter into your sales tax submissions. Well, that about sums it up for the Service Node field settings. However, I'm open to suggestions for how to make ServiceNode.work a perfect fit for your field service business. If you have any suggestions, feel free to reach out through the contact link at the bottom of the page, and we can set a time to talk. Thank you.